Join us as we follow the moon. We're going to start off today in Tombstone, Arizona. This is like the epitome of the Wild West.
It sure is.
So let us show you around, and there's more fun to come.
Thanks.
And this is what you're greeted with when you arrive in Tombstone. It's like stepping back in time.
It definitely is. I've been a fan of Tombstone for many years, mostly because of the movies.
And we lucked out. We were there over Memorial Day weekend, which happened to be Wyatt Earp days. And it just made it all the more interesting.
I love seeing the people dressed up in their period style clothing and wandering around the town. They come out and they're friendly and talk to you.
Absolutely. It does feel like you're in a different era. This is the historic Tombstone Courthouse, and it looks very historic, especially with the carriage going by.
That's right.
This is inside it. It's now a museum on Tombstone. We had a lot of ground to cover, so we kept going.
The town itself is basically all of the same old buildings, and they're being used very similar to what they were in the past. And it's just like Doug said, it's like walking back in town.
Now the OK Corral site is there. They do the gunfight reenactment periodically throughout the day, different times on different days. The town streets are like dirt.
That's right.
You feel like you're back there. The wooden sidewalks. I mean, it's like stepping back into the Wild West.
Every now and then you'll see a new plank been put in, but I'm sure back then they put them in now and then.
That's right. Now this is the historic City Hall. It's got a big bell up on top, and the police department still actually operates out of the side of it.
I was surprised at that.
Now, Morgan Earp was murdered while playing pool at what was this saloon. It's even still on the window that's what it was. Now it's not quite as ominous as what it was in those days.
That's right. But a lot of the saloons are still working as saloons or as bars.
Mm-hmm. This is Ike Clanton's Haunted Hotel. There's a lot of ghosts and a lot of haunting. I like that sign about the cold beverage is intolerable water.
Yeah.
There again, the inside of the saloon, and people dressed up like in the period.
That's right.
It was pretty cool.
It's a great place to just walk around and feel the vibes of what it used to be.
And you know what? Is it touristy? Absolutely. But that's part of the charm of it.
That's right. It's nice to get away from concrete, although there's a concrete side.
Now there is the Birdcage Theater, and this famous spot has been turned into like a museum.
Yeah.
And we went in. You go into the very first room, and they entice you here with a few things that you're going to see, but there's more to come. So once you go through the little spiel here, you see the painting of Fatima. She has a small cut in her dress, which is where a knife went through, and it looks like she has two belly buttons, but one is a bullet hole.
Yeah.
As you go on back through, this is what the building looked like, and this is an original building, and these things that are inside it are also original. Now that is a grand piano that was put in there the day the place opened, and it's still there.
It's so amazing.
Curly Bill was in getting a haircut. They found out who it was, and that was the end of Curly Bill. There's the curtain for the stage. And this is actually backstage. And they've put in a few things of of historical interest, one of which is this hearse. There were only 8 of these made, and it has real silver and real gold trim on it, and it's the only one known in existence today. This is the table of the world's longest running poker game. It's in the Guinness Book of World Records, and I believe it said it was just over 8 years.
Now, I believe also that it had originally been upstairs and is now downstairs.
Yeah.
So they moved everything.
They moved everything around a bit. I like Doc's menu. The last item is a Tombstone Pizza. I figured somebody'd have to do it. This is a silver mining area that was over on the edge of town. Everything within walking distance. Big Nose Kate's Saloon. And there are horses on the streets as well as the carriages.
And they like Maggie.
Now, this is the Boothill Cemetery. And a lot of famous people, including ones that were involved in the gunfight at the OK Corral, are living out the rest of their days on this earth right here. There's over 250 graves. There were several of them that had more than one person in it. This one was the Clantons.
Yeah.
And they were involved in the gunfight.
Now, the graveyard had actually been abandoned for a long time, and they kind of uncovered it and cleaned it up so that people could go back and see who the historical figures were.
But several of these other graves that had more than one person was a couple people had been convicted of murder and I guess hung. I'm not sure how they met their demise.
There were 7 of them, yeah.
But they were putting all of those
just put them all together.
guilty parties all together, yeah. And there's some famous names in that cemetery.
Yes, there are. Look at there.
Roadrunner.
There's Roadrunner. I don't know where Wile E. Coyote was.
I didn't see anything that said Acme on it, so he probably wasn't there. Now, next up is the little town of Lowell, Arizona. And Lowell is a step back in time also, but not quite as far as Tombstone.
Yeah, I love this place. It reminded me of when I was growing up.
Lowell is basically about maybe 3 blocks, maybe 4 blocks long.
Yeah, it's not very big.
And it's full of old storefronts. This is a Harley Davidson and Indian motorcycle store. Most of the things are there on display. It's not really an active storefront as in any of these buildings, but there's a nice Chevrolet sitting there in front of the Chevrolet dealership. There's that Sprouse and Ritz.
Yeah, how do we pronounce that?
A golf filling station, the theater. And you can park there on the street. They're not all just the historic vehicles. You can park right in there with them.
There was a hat shop in there.
Mm-hmm.
The hats looked like they'd been there since the 50s.
I'm glad it was locked and only on display. But yeah, this is really cute. This is outside of Bisbee, and definitely if you're in that area, you've got to drive through. It's like walking back in time. And I love that on the side of the building.
Yeah. Now, speaking of Bisbee.
Bisbee was an amazing little town. And Bisbee all got started with the Queen Mine. It's an inactive mine today. They do mine tours. You can actually go down in the mine. But this area just outside of town is called the Lavender Pit. And with Cathy's love for lavender, it was on the agenda of things to see. But we found out the name Lavender Pit only had to do with the gentleman's last name
right.
that did this mine and kind of put Bisbee back on the map. They were able to extract copper from what before wouldn't have been usable ore. Into the historic downtown of Bisbee, this place is a must-see.
I love this town.
If you're in southern Arizona, you have to see Bisbee. A lot of historical buildings. This is the city fire hall. It was the fire department and city hall all in one building. Little dentist office there on the corner. The hotel there right up the street, still active.
I think everything was still active.
Yeah.
It was still a very livable town.
Now, this building now is their mining museum, and out in front of it is all of this mining equipment. And it looks like miniature railroad because they couldn't be very big and get
That's
through
right.
the mine tunnels.
Yeah.
I love this. It looks like a little tiny train engine. Again, it's one of those towns you can tell is just proud of its heritage. The building there on the corner, the front of it's the post office, the side of it's the library. And we spent a good share of an afternoon walking around Bisbee, and we probably could have spent longer.
Yeah.
That Object Limited building was an old Woolworth. This building was an old J.C. Penney's. And being a mining and mountain town, the roads kind of curve around and go up and go down.
That.
And
we walked a bit of this.
This jewelry by Owen, this fella is quite an artist. He actually handcrafts pieces. And
they're two-sided.
yeah, they're like a
Really cool.
a stone on one side, and then he does a silver overlay of a scene on top of the stone on the other.
Reverse it. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was amazing stuff. Now, we had been walking for a while, and we were starting to get hungry. So we went to Taqueria Outlaw. This place is a find. If you are in Bisbee, we highly recommend it. It is a little Mexican restaurant and very colorful, very, very cool vibe inside. But the food was just absolutely amazing.
And talk about authentic.
Yes. And you don't go away hungry. You had something that was a pineapple, and
yeah, I did.
you had the beef tacos. We had some guacamole. Look at that burrito. That was 2 days' meal for me.
I was going to say, we actually took home a box that Doug brought some home.
Yeah, that's not real usual, but half was plenty. A little pastry shop there across the street. It had closed for the day, but this was in the window, and I think I put on 5 pounds just looking in their window.
It was probably just as well it was closed.
This place's patio was right where the rocks were coming out. And again, all kinds of little inns and bed and breakfasts. And
Definitely a must-go see.
yeah, this is just a fun, relaxing, walkable town. Park one spot, and you can walk the whole town. And definitely worth your time. And stay out of the inactive mine,
That's
whatever
right.
you do. So, Cathy, what did you think of our day in Tombstone, Lowell, and Bisbee?
I am loving it. This is so cool. Total surprise.
Yeah, this has been outstanding. This was actually going to become part of another video, and we've had so much good experience in all three of these places that they deserve their own video, that's for sure.
Absolutely. And one day is very doable.
Yes, yeah, it is. You can get around the city and get around all three of the towns. Sorry about the cars there. But if you've enjoyed the video today, leave us a thumbs up. We certainly appreciate it. If you haven't already subscribed to our channel, please subscribe and ring the notification bell, and that way you'll know when every one of our videos come out, every Monday evening and every Friday morning.
And thank you for following us as we follow the moon.
Thanks for watching today.
If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel.
And be sure to ring the notification bell so you'll know when new videos come out.
Don't forget to follow us on social media too.